Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Tosif, and I'm back with a new live stream. It's always such a pleasure to be able to do these live streams. I enjoy every moment when I'm doing these live streams, okay? I know we talk about a lot of serious issues, we discuss problems, we discuss challenges and crises. Um, but you know what? The fact that I start these live streams and I have friends from all over the country, all over the world tuning in and ha- and we're basically having a discussion, and the fact that we all get together, um it gives me so much hope. The conversations that we have, it gives me a lot of hope about the future of mankind. All right, I'm going to talk globally about the future of mankind. We care about not just the United States of America. We care about the earth. We care about planet Earth. We care about human civilization. We care about peace and prosperity all over the world. And we care about space exploration. We care about this universe that we live in. We want to learn more. We want to know more. We want to move forward, gather more knowledge. And, from all these conversations that we have, from all the discussion, from all the topics we discuss, um, my faith in mankind, my faith in humanity just grows stronger and stronger. Okay. I believe in the power of love. I believe in the power of good. I believe that it's because of the force of good that we will continue to move forward as a human civilization. So anyway, just some general thoughts that I have, because I've been doing these live streams for um what, 1.5 years. I started back in January of 2024. So January of 2025 was 1 year, and here we are, July, almost reaching the end of July, um, of 2025. So it's it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and it's truly an honor, um, to be able to be to be able to see this community grow. Okay, we are growing. We are growing. We're gonna get stronger and stronger, bigger and bigger every day. Okay, so make sure that if you are watching for the first time, please subscribe. I'm going to continue to keep the live chat in subscriber only mode, which means anyone can watch the videos, subscriber or not. But in order to participate in the live chat, you have to be a subscriber. Okay, so please subscribe and like this video, share this video. Okay, do it right now. It's very important. All right, my friends, we're going to be talking about Alcatraz. All right. Is that a great topic for Saturday night? What do you think? Should we talk about Alcatraz or not? I want to hear from some of you. Do you think we should talk about Alcatraz? That's what I have in mind. That's what I that's what I would like to talk about, unless you tell me otherwise. If you tell me, Toss, if we don't want to talk about Alcatraz, then we can talk about something else. But no, I want to talk about Alcatraz. Frank, so good to see you. So Frank is here, and my friend Terry is here. Frank is from Florida. Terry is from South Dakota, and I'm sure more of our friends will be tuning in as we move forward. Terry is saying Alcatraz. All right, we'll talk about Alcatraz, my friends. The Trump administration has confirmed that Alcatraz will be reopened. All right. Now, what we can do right now is I can pause and you can clap. You can, we need some applause, right? Although I know we are all in different places, so we can't hear the sound of um, each of us clapping, but really, um, it's time for an applause. It really is. The Trump administration has confirmed that Alcatraz will be reopened. It's gonna happen. It's yeah. It's reality. The Alcatraz reality. Okay, something that the Democrats don't like, and I'm going to talk about that. The Democrats are not having a good time. They're not. All right. The Trump administration is moving forward at full speed. President Trump is keeping his promises. He's fulfilling his promises. Promises made, promises kept, one after another, one after another, one after another. And so the Democrats are not having a good time. Okay, they have failed miserably, we've seen, and they are failing. And the Democrats are sad. But, we're going to talk about the Democrats a little later. So, Alcatraz, what a special name, Alcatraz. The name itself inflicts fear in the hearts and minds of the criminals. That's right. Criminals, dangerous criminals, when they hear the name Alcatraz, what do you think happens to them? That's the impact of the name Alcatraz. My friends, if you're watching this, if you support the reopening of Alcatraz, just write Alcatraz in the live chat. That's all you have to do. If you want to write longer sentences, you can. But I'm giving you the option to simply write Alcatraz. Just write Alcatraz. And that'll tell me, and that'll tell all of us that you support the reopening of Alcatraz. That's the impact of this name, my friends. Alcatraz. As soon as the criminals hear this name, fear takes over. Fear takes over. The criminals, they stop thinking properly. Their brain doesn't function properly anymore when they hear the name Alcatraz. Their minds become numb and they shake in fear. That's right. Criminals shake. They tremble in fear when they hear the name Alcatraz. And there's a lot of trembling and shaking going on right now. The criminals who used to feel emboldened during the Biden administration are now shaking in fear. When Joe Biden was in office, law and order was gone. We saw what happened nationwide. The criminals were becoming stronger and stronger, and they continued to break our nation's laws. And it was a complete mess. All the illegal aliens coming in, breaking our laws and committing crimes in so many states across the country. We heard about Tren de Aragua taking over apartment buildings in Colorado. Can you believe that? Yeah, we talked about it. Law and order was in trouble. Criminals, they were in control. The criminals were committing crimes without any fear. But now it's the Trump administration, and law and order are being restored. And now, when the criminals hear the name Alcatraz, they shake, they tremble. The criminals, they cannot sleep at night. You know what happens when the criminals, they close their eyes at night? They see Alcatraz in their dreams. That's right. They see Alcatraz in their dreams. And you know what happens then? They wake up screaming in fear. Middle of the night, the criminals, they go to bed, they rest their heads on the pillows, They close their eyes, they go to sleep, and they see Alcatraz in their dreams, and they wake up immediately screaming in fear. And then the criminals cannot go back to sleep anymore. They try, they toss and turn in their beds, and still the criminals cannot go back to sleep. They get up and they drink some water, and they try to go back to sleep again, and they still cannot fall asleep because the fear of Alcatraz keeps the criminals sleepless. They make the criminals sleepless. Alcatraz. That's the impact of the name. You mention the name, and the criminals cannot sleep at night. The criminals, they imagine being arrested and shipped to a dark island on the West Coast. And what's the name of the island? Do you know what it is? It's a quiz question. What is the name of the island? The criminals, I told you, they imagine being arrested and shipped to a dark island on the West Coast. An island from where they cannot escape. What's the name of the island? The name that makes the criminals tremble in fear, Alcatraz. It's the island of fear, an island from where no one has been able to escape alive. Those who committed crimes are living in fear each and every day, each and every moment. Because we know what's going to happen. The Americans know what's going to happen. We know. Dangerous criminals will be shipped to Alcatraz. They will be detained in Alcatraz. They will be imprisoned in Alcatraz. They will spend a long time in Alcatraz, and there's no escape. The prison is soon going to be ready to receive dangerous criminals, and it was confirmed by Interior Secretary. Who's the Interior Secretary? Who can tell me the name of the Interior Secretary? A very strong and intelligent member of President Trump's cabinet. Interior Secretary. Do you remember? We talked about him on this channel. He's one of the best and the brightest cabinet members ever. Interior Secretary. Tell me the name. Who can tell me the name, my friends? Who's the Interior Secretary? That's a quiz question I'm asking. Please respond in the live chat window. Just write the name of the Interior Secretary. Who can answer? Who can answer? Billy is here. Hi, Billy. My friend Terry can answer. My friend Terry from South Dakota can answer. And Terry writes, North Dakota Governor Bergam. Doug Bergam, exactly. Aaron has also answered. Bergam, that is correct. Bergam. Doug Bergam, Interior Secretary, former governor, but now Interior Secretary. And I was so happy when Bergam was nominated for that role. I was very happy. I thought this is great. A wise decision by President Donald J. Trump. You know, I remember those days. There was so much of anticipation, you know, when President Trump would announce the names of people he selected for different cabinet roles. Remember? When President Trump was setting up his cabinet, when he was picking the team members, and he announced the name of Doug Bergam to be the Interior Secretary, I was so happy. And of course, those nominees then got confirmed by the Senate. I was very happy. So, Interior Secretary Doug Bergam confirmed that Alcatraz will be reopened. The federal government is going to start working. The federal government is going to start working to do whatever repairs, whatever maintenance would be necessary to reopen this island prison, Alcatraz. Just repeating the name Alcatraz makes the criminals tremble and shake in fear. Just repeating the name Alcatraz would make the criminals run and hide. But they cannot run and hide. Criminals will be arrested, they will be detained, and they will be shipped to Alcatraz. Freshly is your Freshly. So good to see you. I see Freshly's name pop up. That's our friend Jake from New York. So wonderful. Thanks for being here. All right. President Trump made it very clear that the most ruthless and violent criminals will be housed in Alcatraz. And you know what? They cannot escape. There's no escape. There's no escape from Alcatraz. It's one way. The criminals will be sent there and they will stay there. No escape from Alcatraz. It's awesome to see how the Trump administration is coming up with prisons with natural barriers. That's an interesting topic, actually, if you think about it. Prisons and detention centers with natural barriers. You know, when you think of a detention center or when you think of a prison, what do you think? You think of tall walls and security fences, right? You know, just lots of physical barriers, man-made physical barriers, you know, concrete and steel and iron and, you know, so on and so forth. All right. You think of man-made barriers. But it's really, really awesome to see the Trump administration coming up with prisons and detention centers with natural barriers. Now, what do I mean by natural barriers? Alcatraz. I mean, think of Alcatraz. Obviously, it's an island. And so if someone, let's say, let's think of a scenario, hypothetical. Let's say somebody escapes from the prison cell in Alcatraz. Where's that person going to go? Where's that person going to go? There's no place to go. It's surrounded by water. It's an island. Where would anyone go? If somebody somehow manages to escape from a prison cell, there's no way to go. It's an island. Natural barrier. That's what I'm talking about. And then on the other side of the country, because, you know, Alcatraz is on the west coast. Now let's go east. Let's go to Florida. There's alligator Alcatraz, something that we talked about. Alligator Alcatraz. Also, I love it. Also with natural barriers, including snakes and alligators in the swampy area. So you got Alcatraz on the west coast, and there's no way to escape. No escape from Alcatraz. And if you go east, talk about Florida, there's alligator Alcatraz. Surrounded by snakes, dangerous snakes, and alligators. There's no escape. No escape, my friends. And this is going to provide some encouragement to other governors to other leaders across the country to think, to brainstorm, and to come up with proposals regarding other possible locations for prisons with natural barriers. I really think that there are other leaders across the country who are going to be looking at locations, who are going to be thinking, okay, what other locations can we find, preferably with natural barriers, where detention facilities could be established, prisons could be established? Because you know what? There are a lot of dangerous criminals who are in our country right now, dangerous criminals. A lot of them have been arrested, and there are still a lot more who are going to have to be arrested. Law enforcement agencies are working. So as our law enforcement, federal law enforcement officers, as they go out and catch these criminals, there's going to be a need for space to house these criminals. And so what better way to house them? If you can find locations with natural barriers, that's the best way. All right? Natural barriers. Surrounded by water, surrounded by swampy areas with snakes and alligators. You look for those locations, and there are many, I'm sure. People will just have to be creative, brainstorm and think. And I think this is something that the Republican governors in the United States, in different states, they must do. They must think like, all right, look at your state. Is there a location that could be turned into a detention center or a prison? My friends, it's a big country. It's a big country, and I'm sure we can find many creative solutions for prisons to house dangerous criminals, prisons with natural barriers. Now, think about the state that you live in. Are there locations that you can think of that would be good for establishing a facility to house dangerous criminals? Think about it. Something to think about. All right, let's find out what Doug Bergam, Interior Secretary, had to say about his recent visit to Alcatraz. Have you read his posts on X, formerly known as Twitter? Doug Bergam wrote on X. He wrote this after visiting Alcatraz. He wrote, in POTUS America, meaning in President Trump's America, law and order will be fully enforced, and today's visit to Alcatraz with Attorney General Pam Bondi marked a powerful step toward ensuring dangerous criminals are held accountable and Americans remain safe. What a wonderful message. Simple and clear and easy to understand. Anyone can read and understand what Interior Secretary Doug Bergam is trying to say. Simple message. Law and order will be fully enforced. Fully enforced. And he said that his visit to Alcatraz, along with Attorney General Pam Bondi, marked a powerful step toward ensuring dangerous criminals are held accountable and Americans remain safe. Safety for Americans. Make America safe again. And Doug Bergam also wrote, housing some of America's most notorious criminals, Alcatraz has long been a symbol of unbreakable security and the federal government's response to serious crime. It's about making America safe again. I love it. It's about making America safe again. My friends, if you're watching this and you want to see America safe again. Please write, make America safe again. Make America safe again. Make America safe again. My friends, write it in the live chat. Send a strong message that we have to make America safe again. Public safety. Safety, number one priority. Keep Americans safe. Now we're going to talk about the Democrats. If you are ready, if you want to talk about the Democrats, we're going to talk about the Democrats. My friend Terry just wrote MASA, make America safe again. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so very much. Let's talk about the Democrats. They don't like this idea, but that's nothing unusual. The Democrats, they oppose anything that President Trump does, anything. Whatever President Trump does, the Democrats oppose. That's it. That's their only strategy. Oppose, oppose, oppose. They just oppose whatever President Trump does. Nancy Pelosi. Who wants to talk about Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House? She's still in Congress. She's not the Speaker anymore, but she's still in Congress. She's still doing interviews, still sharing her thoughts, still spreading left-wing propaganda. Nancy Pelosi, that's what she does. She's following her Democrat talking points, even if that means abandoning rationality, even if that means abandoning common sense. She just follows the Democrat talking points. Nancy Pelosi, in particular, hates the idea of reopening Alcatraz. Now, what else can we expect from Nancy Pelosi? She's never going to say, oh, I love what the Trump administration is doing. Nancy Pelosi is never going to say, oh, I like President Trump's idea. Nancy Pelosi is never going to say, oh, I like the Trump administration's new initiative. She's never going to say stuff like that. She's going to oppose, oppose, oppose. That's all that she can do. She's committed to opposing whatever the Trump administration does. My friend Terry wrote, don't listen to Nancy. Yeah, that's a great advice, Terry. Do not listen to Nancy. Nancy Pelosi, don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. She's committed to promoting left-wing propaganda. That's it. That's all. That's all that there is. Whatever the president does, whatever President Trump does, Nancy Pelosi will oppose. Now, one might think that Pelosi, after serving in a leadership role like the Speaker of the House, would be in favor of trying to find common ground and to be open to cooperation. I mean, in good faith, somebody might expect that. Somebody might think, oh, you know what? Nancy Pelosi has been in Washington for so many years. You know, she's a senior member of the House. And maybe after being in politics for all these years, she understands the value of cooperation, the value of bipartisanship, the value of working together with people with different ideas and trying to get things done. Maybe she's going to work to find common ground. Maybe, just maybe, because she has been in Congress for so long, maybe she has earned some wisdom. Maybe she understands that bipartisanship can get things done. But no, if that's what you think, you are going to be disappointed, because Nancy Pelosi, even after all these years in Washington, she does not embrace bipartisanship. She does not embrace common sense. She is only committed to the Democrat talking points. That's it. Singular strategy that the Democrats now have, and that is to oppose whatever President Trump does. That's it. Oppose, oppose, oppose. And in this case, it's the same thing. She's not applying common sense. She's not engaging in cooperation. Nancy Pelosi is still very busy trying to prevent cooperation. She's very busy trying to create barriers for the Trump administration. And if nothing else, what she will do is she will go on TV and do interviews and keep criticizing the Trump administration. Criticism after criticism after criticism. We can see, we the American people, you know what? We the people who voted for Donald J. Trump, which is, most people, because Donald Trump received the popular vote, which the Democrats could not even imagine that Trump would win the popular vote, but he did. 45th president became 47th president by getting the popular vote as well as the Electoral College vote. So President Trump is fulfilling his promises. We, the American people, we can see what President Trump is doing. We can see what his administration is doing. We can see the steps they are taking. We can see their initiatives and their actions and their decisions. We can find out information about the executive orders that he signed. President Trump communicates directly with the American public, and he shares with the people information about what he plans to do, what he wants to do, what he's going to do. He's fearless, he's strong, and he's getting things done. He's getting things done. So it's going to be what? It's soon going to be Sunday. It's soon going to be Sunday. In less than half hour, it's going to be Sunday in the Central Time Zone. If you are in the Eastern Time Zone, like our friend Frank, like our friend Freshly, if you're in the Eastern Time Zone, you are already into Sunday, which would be the 20th of July. And what does that mean? You count from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 6 months of the Trump administration, 6 months since President Trump was sworn into office for the second time. And he has already accomplished so much. So much. It's just 6 months. There are years left. Years left. And so think about how much the Trump administration and we, the American people, can achieve as we move forward over the next several months, over the next few years. Lots of achievements already. My friends, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pause for a little bit. I have a lot to talk about. I'm going to pause. Our friend Simon just joined. Simon says, "Good morning, America." Our friend Simon from South Africa is tuning in. Simon, so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Simon. Tyre is here. Tyre, thank you for being here. My friends, let's pause for a little bit. And let me ask you, as I've done in the past so many times, show your support for President Trump by writing Trump 2025. Just write Trump 2025. Why 2025? Because we are in 2025. So that's the year we are going to write Trump 2025. All right. So enjoy the success. Think about the achievements. Celebrate. Write Trump 2025, my friends. Simon is writing Trump 2025. Tyre is writing Trump 2025. I'm waiting for all our other friends to write the same Trump 2025. L is writing Trump 2025. Who else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Right, Trump 2025, my friends. Right, Trump 2025. Celebrate. My friend Terry Dunlap from South Dakota is writing Trump 2025. 6 months of the Trump administration, tremendous success, and we're just getting started. There's more to come. There's going to be a lot more achievements, a lot more success, a lot more reasons to celebrate. Reasons to celebrate. My friends, if you are here for the first time, please make sure that you're subscribing. It's important that you subscribe to stay connected. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers for those who don't know. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. We want to grow well beyond 20,000 subscribers, but you know what? For now, let's set small objectives, small goals, all right? Let's get to 20,000 subscribers first, and then we're going to continue to grow beyond that. All right. My friends, we are winning. We, the American people, we are winning. And the world is watching. The world is watching the victory of the American people, because we went to the voting location, the polling location, and we voted for Donald J. Trump. And here we are. Republican majority in the House, Republican majority in the Senate, and President Donald J. Trump in the White House, my friends. So, let's continue. Let's continue. Nancy Pelosi never agrees with President Trump. Never. She is focused on opposing the Trump administration. In all these years, she has not learned anything about cooperation and common sense policymaking. And so, in the case of reopening Alcatraz, Nancy should be able to say, hey, it's a great idea. President Trump, it's a great idea. Nancy Pelosi should be able to say, you know what? We should send the worst of the worst criminals to this highly secure prison from which they cannot escape. But no, Nancy Pelosi does not agree with President Trump. Nancy Pelosi does not agree with the will of the people. The will of the people is the following: send the dangerous criminals to Alcatraz. That's the will of the people. But Nancy Pelosi is not in agreement with the will of the people. She opposes the reopening of Alcatraz. If a person believes in law and order, let me ask you, do you believe in law and order? I'm asking you, you're watching this. Do you believe in law and order? Let me ask you this. Yeah. Just say, I believe in law and order. Tyre is writing yes. Do you believe in law and order? I'm waiting for other friends to respond. Do you believe in the rule of law? Simon is saying law and order. Yes, sir. Freshly is saying blue lives matter. We believe in law and order. If a person believes in law and order, if a person believes that dangerous criminals should be locked up in prison, then that person should support the reopening of Alcatraz. It's common sense. It is common sense. But sadly, Nancy Pelosi came out and strongly criticized the reopening of Alcatraz. And there's another state senator in California from the San Francisco area. The state senator called the reopening of Alcatraz absurd. Really absurd? No. A state senator, an elected official in California from the San Francisco area, has said that the reopening of Alcatraz is absurd. Really? It's just mind boggling how anyone can call the reopening of Alcatraz absurd. Really? Is it absurd to lock criminals up in prison? Is it absurd to lock up criminals in prison, dangerous criminals? We're not talking about, petty thieves. We're not talking about non-violent, you know, small crimes. We're talking about dangerous criminals, the worst of the worst, the ruthless and dangerous criminals, those who are a threat to our society. We're talking about those criminals. If we lock those dangerous criminals up in prison, why is that absurd? Tell me. It's not absurd. It's common sense. It's public safety. It's the right thing to do. If you want to keep innocent Americans safe, then dangerous criminals will have to be locked up. And what better place to lock up dangerous criminals than Alcatraz, an island from where no one can escape? My friends, we send criminals to prison, and Alcatraz is a prison, and it will be repaired and it will be reopened. And let me also highlight that deterrence is crucial in public safety. And the reopening of this giant prison on this island is going to ensure deterrence. And let's be clear about one thing. Alcatraz is not going to be a prison where non-violent, low-risk inmates will be housed. No, it's not for the non-violent, low-risk inmates. This prison is going to be, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, this prison is going to be for the worst of the worst criminals, convicts who are dangerous individuals. My friends, California Democrats, what can I say about California Democrats? I want to make some comments about the Democrat politicians in California. But I have a lot to say, but I don't want to spend a whole hour just talking about California Democrats, but I will have to say a few things. By the way, before I do that, Victoria is here. Hi, Victoria. Thanks for being here, Victoria. Before I talk about the California Democrats, I want to draw your attention to a poll question that I'm asking, and you can see it on your screen. There's a poll question, and I hope that you're going to take a moment to answer that question. Read that question, answer that question. There are two options, yes and no. You click on one, all right? The question is, let me read to you the question. The question is, would you like to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison as soon as possible? ASAP, as soon as possible. Would you? Yes, I'm talking to you. You're watching this. You're listening to me. You are here, for which I thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for clicking on this video. Thanks for tuning in for this live stream. I hope you stay because we're having a great discussion. And I'm talking to you, and the question that I want to ask you, my friends, is that would you like to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison as soon as possible? As soon as possible. I'm not talking about 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. I'm talking about as soon as possible. Would you like to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison on that island as soon as possible? So far, you know what? So far, 67% of the respondents have said yes. Yes. Journey to Justice, our friend Rachel is here. Rachel, Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Rachel from Waukesha County. My friends, as soon as possible, we want to see that prison reopen as soon as possible. 67% of the respondents have said yes, which is overwhelming support for the reopening of Alcatraz. And if you have not voted, you can still vote. You can vote and share your thoughts in the live chat. Debbie is here. Hello, Debbie. Thank you for being here. Brian is here. Hello, Brian. By the way, if you're here for the first time, please subscribe. All right. My friends, I told you I'm going to talk about California Democrats. Oh my God. What can I say about California Democrats? I don't know. Do you have anything you want to say about California Democrats? You want to describe them in a single sentence? You want to write a paragraph talking about the California Democrats? You want to share your opinion, your thoughts about the California Democrats, your views about the California Democrats? Do you personally know any California Democrat? Terry is writing, my brother moved out of California. That's a good decision, Terry. It's a good decision to move out of California. And you know what? A lot of people are doing that. And you wonder why. You wonder why. Why are people moving out of California? Isn't it a beautiful state? You have beaches, you have mountains, you have great weather, a beautiful coastline. Why would people move out of California? You know why? You know why people are moving out of California? Because of the left-wing policies, because of the woke policies of the California Democrats. That's right. That's right. People are sick and tired of wokeness. They are sick and tired of the left-wing activism. And so people are moving out of California. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. Yeah, it's beautiful. But you know what? High taxes, no thank you. We don't want any of that anymore. High gas price, no thank you. Let's move elsewhere. Woke policies, no thank you. We're sick and tired. So people are moving out of California. And there are numerous reasons for that. Brian is writing, California Democrats are out of touch with what is going on in the rest of the country. That's correct, Brian. California Democrats, this describes the California Democrats so nicely. Out of touch. They are out of touch. Yeah. They are detached from reality. Either they don't understand reality, they don't understand the facts, or they understand, but they simply choose not to act based on common sense. They simply choose to disregard the reality and just abide by the talking points of the Democrat Party. Matthew is here. Matthew, thank you for being here. Thanks for being here, Matthew. My friends, make sure that you're liking this video. It is important that you like this video because that's how we can reach more people. That's how the algorithm can be bumped up in our favor. We can reach more people. We can spread our message to a larger population. We can attract more people to join our community. It's so important that you like this video, all right? That's all I ask for. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and share the video. take a link to this video and email it to a friend, email it to a family member, or just post it on YouTube. Post the link. Post the link on Facebook. I meant Facebook or X or Truth Social. Matthew is writing that he's currently living in Southern California and everything is super expensive. I understand your pain, Matthew. I understand your pain. California cost of living, especially in Southern California, it is unbelievable. Sky high cost of living. People are struggling. Even when people make a lot of money in California, they still struggle. You could be making $150,000, $200,000 and still end up struggling. And it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I read an article not too long ago. Somebody who lives in the San Francisco area makes $150,000 and struggles financially. It's just, wow. Because you know what? You're paying a lot in rent, even for a small apartment. Insurance rates are high. Cost of living, gasoline, everything's expensive. That's right, yeah. I mean, if you make $150,000 in, I don't know, pick a state, pick Wisconsin. If you make $150,000 in Wisconsin, you are going to have pretty decent life, yeah. You can afford a nice house. You can have, you can meet all your expenses. You can save money for the future. I mean, you're gonna be fine. Okay. But if you are in the San Francisco area and you make $150,000 a year, don't be shocked if you still struggle to make ends meet. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you don't believe me, ask Matthew. Matthew, whatever I'm saying, Matthew, is that correct? Now I know I used San Francisco as an example, and you're not in San Francisco, you're in Southern California, but I'm sure that the same thing applies where you are. The cost of living is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, yeah. Auto Gal is writing, my insurance has gone up from $60 a month for full coverage to $190, which is insane. Auto Gal, are you in California? Are you in California? Please let me know where you're from. Maybe you have written and I just missed reading that. You're in Arkansas. All right, Arkansas. Yeah, insurance rates are going up everywhere. It's shocking, mind-boggling. But yeah, I've talked to people who told me, like, oh, I had no claims for my auto insurance, no claims, no accidents, no speeding tickets, nothing, no traffic violations, and still the rates went up. The insurance premiums went up. Not just by a couple of dollars, but significantly, and they just wonder why. It's crazy. The insurance market right now, it is crazy. Okay, it is crazy. Rachel is saying that her son lives there in California. Yeah, it's so Rachel, California cost of living, it is crazy. Okay. All right, my friends. Yeah, please continue engaging in conversation in the live chat window, because those who have been following my channel, this, right? I don't want these live streams to be just one-way conversation. No, I want both ways. You should share your thoughts in the live chat, and I'm gonna read your questions and comments, and I'll try to respond. And then You know, we'll make it a conversation. Um, okay. DD is here, and DD is from, you see the name DDB. So DD is from California. We're talking about California, and DD is here. Um, all right. DD is from California. Yeah, we're talking about California. And so let me start talking about the California Democrats. The California Democrats have supported the Biden administration's policies when the Biden administration opened the borders and allowed illegal immigrants, including, we don't know how many criminals, people with criminal history, long criminal history, with violent background. When the borders were open, people entered the United States, and a lot of people entered the US. Those people who lived, uh, who were probably imprisoned in prisons in other countries, and they came to the United States, just walked across the border. Dangerous people. Dangerous people. Okay. So the California Democrats, you know what? They supported the Biden administration's policies when the Biden administration opened the borders and allowed criminals to enter the US. And now, when the Trump administration is fighting crimes and the Trump administration is arresting criminals, now the California Democrats have a problem with that. What does that tell you about the California Democrats and their priorities? Do they care about public safety? Do they care about the neighborhoods? The California Democrats, they didn't complain when the Biden administration opened up the borders. But now the California Democrats are complaining when Trump administration is enforcing our nation's immigration laws and catching criminals and deporting illegal aliens. My friends, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tommy Brown is here. Tommy Brown, so good to see you. By the way, my friends, I got to tell you that we have reached 13,600 subscriber mark. So we are at 13,600 subscribers. 400 more subscribers will get us to 14,000, and then 6,000 more will get us to 20,000, and that's where we want to go. Let's see. Tommy Brown, so good to see you. All right. Okay, my friends, please make sure that you're subscribing, okay? Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. All right. So I have to tell you about what our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, posted on social media regarding her visit to Alcatraz. Pam Bondi wrote, "A great morning at Alcatraz with Secretary Bergam. Under President Trump, we are making America safe again." Simple message from Attorney General Pam Bondi. I love it. A great morning at Alcatraz with Secretary Bergam. Under President Trump, we are making America safe again. This is what people want. This is what people want. Alcatraz, a highly secure federal prison, a high security federal prison. This facility can be used to house illegal aliens, dangerous illegal alien criminals. My friends, I was reading about this prison, Alcatraz, and I was just trying to understand the details of, reopening this. And um, hold on one second. Rachel is asking me about Dane County. Rachel. Rachel, if we start talking about Dane County, we're going to be here all night talking about Dane County. For those who are from outside of Wisconsin, you may be wondering what Rachel is referring to. Rachel is a Wisconsinite. She lives in Waukesha County. I live in Dane County. Both those counties are in southern Wisconsin. Waukesha is in southeast Wisconsin. Dane County is in south central Wisconsin. So Rachel is talking about Dane County because you know what? Dane County, and that's the place where I live, Dane County has big problems. Dane County is a very, very blue county, heavily Democrat county, Dane County. And in the city of Madison, for those who don't know, and I'm not going to go into the details here because that's going to be a long conversation if we start talking about what's going on in the city of Madison, which is the state capital, right? Madison is the capital of the state of Wisconsin. And it's also the biggest city in Dane County. You want to talk about election integrity? There are big problems in Dane County. Okay? If you want to do a Google search, just do it. The city of Madison, look up information about the city of Madison clerk. All right? And you're going to see some news, recent news regarding ballots, election laws, and some shocking findings. All right? By the way, I'm not going to be able to go into the details just because it's going to be, as I said, it's going to be a completely different conversation, and it'll be a long conversation because I have a lot to say about Dane County and the city of Madison. But I'm like, if I want to do that, it has to be a separate live stream just because of the details that we have to go into talking about election integrity in Wisconsin, and particularly Dane County, and also Milwaukee County. All right. That's also Milwaukee County also has issues. But you know what? Why don't you just look up some of the information yourself? Do a search. Rachel, I appreciate you bringing that up because I think it's important for people to know about this. It's important for people to know what kind of stuff can happen. I mean, never assume that the election is going to be, in your county or in your city, that the election, everything will be conducted properly, everything proper, 100%, and without any irregularities and all that. I mean, you can never make that assumption because what we, the people of Wisconsin, found out about the things that happened in Madison, in Dane County, pertaining to election, it is shocking. It is shocking. Very, very shocking, okay? Rachel, I'm glad you brought it up. Even if I can't go into the details of that discussion here, I would appreciate if you all go on the internet and look it up. Okay? Look it up. Look at the information about. Give me 1 second. Look at the information about the election laws in Wisconsin, look at the information about uncounted ballots. Uncounted ballots. Tommy is asking, where's the hat, Tossif? Tommy, the hat is always here. The hat is always here, right here. Here's the hat. Frankie says, great hat. Thank you, Frankie. Look up the information. Uncounted ballots. Do I need to say more? Uncounted ballots. Can you imagine that? Frankie says, MAGA all day. Thank you, Frankie. So, Simon, did you read the news? Is that what you're referring to? Simon, did you read the news? Did you look it up? Just write the keywords. Write City of Madison, election, ballot, city clerk, and you're going to get lots of news articles on this. Okay, so as I was saying, let's go back to talking about Alcatraz, all right? Rachel, thanks for bringing it up, okay? I was reading more about Alcatraz, trying to understand the logistics, trying to understand what would be required to reopen this prison, and I understand that it'll be an expensive facility, okay? There's going to be a lot of cost associated with reopening Alcatraz. And that's what the Democrats are complaining about. Okay, listen to what I have to say. Listen to what I have to say. The Democrats are complaining about the costs associated with reopening Alcatraz. They're complaining about the costs associated with, reopening and keeping Alcatraz open. They're saying, oh, it's going to be expensive. It's going to need a lot of money. It's going to be expensive, blah, blah, blah. That's what the Democrats are talking about right now. The Democrats, I mean, they're complaining about expenses, all right? Understand this. And you just have to wonder. Since when did the Democrats start caring about spending, government spending? Do they really care about government spending? If you look at the history of the Democrats, then you know that the Democrats just like to spend money, and more money. Taxpayer money. The bills that the Democrats have historically supported have been full of pork. You heard the term pork barrel politics. Politics of pork. When you talk about pork barrel politics, you're basically talking about Democrats' way of legislating in Washington. There's this person, Lee. I'm trying to read Lee's comments. I'm going to read Lee's comments later on. Lee is saying political science 101. Oh, okay. Are you talking about? Are you a poli-sci major, Lee? Are we talking about courses, academic courses, political science 101, introduction to American politics? Is that what we're talking about, Lee? Is that what your comment pertains to? I'm reading the comments. Let's see. Lee is saying, "Take it easy." No, no, I'm easy, Lee. I'm just. By the way, Lee and others, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that very, very much. By the way, I was a poli sci major. That's my major, undergrad major, political science. Graduate school, Master of Public Affairs. So I studied public policy, public policy, public budgeting, cost benefit analysis, policy analysis, healthcare policy. That's what I studied. Um, so yeah, spent a lot of time studying political science. There are lots of books in my library, poli sci books in my library here and in the storage. I got so many books that I can't I can't keep them all um, in my apartment. So I put many of those in boxes and send those off to an offsite storage. Um, so Lee, are you from New York? You're from New York, Lee? Oh, Lee is writing. Oh, okay, that's your name, Lee. Born and raised in New York. All right, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Mm, all right, hold on. Okay. Denzel is here. All right, Denzel. Denzel is writing about Indian. Who's Indian? Are you Indian, Denzel? I'm not. I'm not Indian. Denzel. Howard is here. Howard says, "Hello, Tassif." Howard, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. I'm seeing a lot of names pop up, names that I haven't seen in a while. You know, it's good to be back. I'm trying to once again get into my routine of doing live streams. Um, so Howard, good to see you. Uh, give me 1 second here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Denzel mentioned like India, I think. No, I'm not from India. Didi is saying, "Hey, Tassif." Hey, Didi, do you have a question? Let me know. My friends, will you please subscribe if you haven't done so already? Those who are watching, those who are participating in the live chat, you are already subscribers. I know that, but those who are just watching, not participating in the live chat, maybe you're not subscribers yet. Please subscribe. All right, stay connected. Help this community grow. Um, Denzel's asking about me. Denzel, I am American. I'm a naturalized United States citizen. All right. I live in Wisconsin. Okay. Yeah. So, Didi, interesting point. That's what I'm going to talk about. The Democrats, that's what I was about to discuss when I went into a different direction, I think, started talking about other things. Um, the Democrats, yes, they are complaining about the cost of running Alcatraz. They're complaining about cost, all right? But, we remember very, very clearly that the Democrats focus on the politics of pork barrel politics. When you talk about pork barrel politics. You're basically talking about the Democrats' way of legislating in Washington. They spend a lot of taxpayer money, and now, when it comes to setting up a facility to house dangerous criminals, now the Democrats have a problem with that. They are complaining about money. The Democrats are not shy about spending taxpayer dollars. The Democrats historically have come up with massive pieces of legislation with huge price tags. We can create a long list of legislation that the Democrats advocated for, bills, massive omnibus spending bills that the Democrats advocated for, bills with huge price tags. So the Democrats are not shy about spending money. They spend a lot of taxpayer money. Many Democrat elected officials, they have these pet projects in their states and in their districts, and they try to appropriate money for those projects. That's what I'm talking about. Pork barrel politics. That's what the Democrats specialize in. Pork barrel politics, politics of pork. And now all of a sudden the Democrats are complaining about money. They are complaining about the cost of reopening Alcatraz. They are worried. They're like, "Oh, it's going to be expensive. It's going to need a lot of money." All of a sudden the Democrats are worried about money. All of a sudden the Democrats are worried about money. Let's see. All right, I'm trying to read some comments. Stephen is asking, "How are you doing?" I'm doing fine, Stephen. I'm doing fine. I'm happy that President Trump is in office. I'm happy that the Republicans are in the majority in the House and the Senate. I'm happy. I know we got challenges to face. I know we have many obstacles to overcome. I know there are many barriers that we have to deal with, but you know what? I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling enthusiastic. I've got a lot of energy. I've got a lot of hope. So, yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, Stephen. Thanks for your question. I appreciate that. So, suddenly the Democrats are complaining about taxpayer money. They're complaining about spending and expenses. Oh, the Democrats, the Democrats, the Democrats. My friends, understand one thing. When we talk about Alcatraz, this money, whatever money is needed to reopen Alcatraz, whatever money is needed to keep Alcatraz operational, this money is going to be spent on something useful, something very, very useful, something that we need. Public safety must be the top priority. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? If you do, please write public safety. Just write two words, public safety, in the live chat window. If you believe, as I do, that public safety must be the top priority, just write public safety. Public safety. We must keep the communities safe. Public safety. Didi is writing public safety. Debbie is writing public safety. Autogal is writing public safety. Thank you so very much. Frankie is writing, yep, public safety. Thank you so very much, Frankie, and others, for your support. Stephen is writing public safety. Jesse is writing public safety. Public safety most certainly must be the top priority. And reopening Alcatraz would mean that individuals who pose public safety threats can be kept far, far away from our neighborhoods. We must ensure the safety of our communities. And when you take the criminals, the dangerous criminals, the worst of the worst, when you take them, when you ship them to Alcatraz, after Alcatraz reopens, when you ship them to Alcatraz and they are housed in Alcatraz, and there's no way for these dangerous criminals to escape, then public safety is ensured. Communities are safer. People feel great. People feel like, yes, the government's doing something to remove the public safety threats and to house these dangerous criminals in Alcatraz. So we need Alcatraz. If it requires money to reopen Alcatraz, well, that's important spending. That's necessary. Focus is your high focus. Good to see you. My friends, you got to look at the bigger picture. You must look at the bigger picture. Tax dollars should be spent on making communities safe. And that is exactly what the Trump administration is doing with this project, the reopening of Alcatraz. Now, Alcatraz is located at a distance, it's in the middle of water because it's an island. And so, one of the big tasks would be to ensure adequate electricity and water supply. And I believe that upgrades will have to be made according to current codes and standards. And I have a lot of confidence that the work will be done on time. AC Cruz is here. AC, so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Our friend AC Cruz from Arizona. Everyone say hi to AC. AC Cruz from Arizona tuning in. So good to see you. Now we just have to wait for the Trump administration to complete the steps to reopen Alcatraz. Now, I don't know what the timeline is. I know that they'll do it as soon as possible, but is that going to take weeks or months? How many months? I don't know. But I have confidence in the Trump administration that they are going to reopen Alcatraz as soon as possible. And we are waiting. We, the American people, we are eagerly waiting to see Alcatraz reopen. And I'm confident. I'm hopeful. All right, let's see. 1 hour, 23 minutes. Wow, time flies. Thanks for spending so much time with me, my friends. Let's see. Uh, all right. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. Some of the comments that are coming in that are being automatically blocked by YouTube because of the comments having certain words and the comments being not so nice. All right. I get a lot of harsh comments. That's part of doing live streams on the internet. There are people who write harsh comments. What can I say? But I'll keep telling the truth. I'm committed to telling the truth. I'm here to share the facts. So um, if people are here insulting me, it's not going to stop me from telling the truth. All right. If you don't like the truth, that's not my problem. All right. But I know that most of our friends here, they embrace the truth. Most of our friends here, they believe in common sense policymaking. Most of our friends here support the enforcement of our nation's immigration laws. Most of our friends here support law and order. All right, my friends. Denzel, what's your question, Denzel? What's your question, Denzel? Anyone has any question? Yeah, let me know who has a question. The comments are moving so fast in the live chat window. I can't keep up with all the comments. I'm trying to read one and then it goes away because the next comment comes in. So that's fine. That's fine. I don't think anyone is expecting me to read and respond to each and every comment because it's not possible because of the volume. Um, let's see. All right. Terry is writing, Tosif needs a nice vacation in the prairies of South Dakota. I would love to visit South Dakota. I would absolutely love to visit South Dakota. Uh, one of the most beautiful states, one of the most beautiful places in the world. All right. Do you agree with me when I say that? I mean it. I have not been to South Dakota, but I know I've seen pictures. I've looked up a lot of information about South Dakota. It is truly one of the most beautiful places in the world. All right. Truly is. South Dakota. Amazing. Oh, Rachel lived in South Dakota. You did, Rachel. That's awesome. Aaron, are you talking to me? Aaron, are you addressing me, Aaron? You want me to go to San Diego and not South Dakota? Or you want me to go to San Diego? I've been to San Diego. I have been to San Diego. It's beautiful, San Diego. Um, yeah, it's beautiful. I've always said that California is such a beautiful place, but the Democrats are ruining California with their woke policies. But California, I mean, God has bestowed so much of wonderful things, on California. The politicians are ruining California, but God has given tremendous beauty, natural beauty to California, undoubtedly. Um, Equals is writing, you realize you're saying California is awesome and also California. Listen, California is awesome because God has made California an awesome place. You look at the geography, you look at the climate, everything. The way California appears on the world map, it's a unique location. Okay, it's beautiful, but when you have a beautiful place, but you place some woke politicians and you make those woke politicians, the radical left politicians, the socialists, when you put them in charge of running the government in California, their woke policies lead to disastrous results. Okay, I mean, think about what happened in California not too long ago, the fires. Why didn't the fire hydrants have water? Why did the Democrats redirect water and the fire hydrants didn't have water? I mean, you talk about natural resources and energy and transportation. I mean, in every sector, the Democrats have created a complete mess in California. And so the people of California are suffering. So, yeah. Equals is saying the majority of California disagrees with you. Really? The majority of California disagrees with me? You think so? Equals? Really? Have you done some kind of a survey with an authentic sample size? Have you done a survey? All right. It's interesting, some of the comments I see here. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something here. If we have truly free and fair election in California, you know who's going to win? You know who's going to win? The Republicans. If we have free and fair, genuinely free and fair election in California, the Republicans will win. Trump's going to win that state. Yeah, it's true. You may not like it. The Democrats who are listening to this live stream, they may not like it, but it's true. Trump will win California if the election is free and fair in California. I said it. I said it. Yeah. That's my viewpoint. Free and fair election in California. If we have free and fair election in California, then Donald Trump's going to win. And the Republicans will win. We're going to win lots of seats in California if the election is free and fair. I mean, California has a problem. Lots and lots of illegal immigrants. It's going to be red. It's going to be a red state if election is free and fair in California. Do you agree with me? Let's see how many people agree with me. I know some don't. I know some don't, but do you agree with what I just said? If the election is free and fair in California, then it's going to be a red wave in California. Yeah. Do you agree with me? Just write agree if you do. If you disagree, express your disagreement. That's fine. That's fine. Tommy Brown is writing Trump 2028. Autogal agrees with me. Thank you so very much. Matthew Gonzalez agrees with me. Frankie is saying, yep, if Cali had fair elections, I agree. Thanks, Frankie. Joseph is saying agree. Thank you so much. Jesse is saying agreed 1000%. Thank you, Jesse. Gemini is saying, I agree with you. Thank you, Gemini. Tommy Brown is giving me a thumbs up. Tommy agrees with me, I'm guessing. Thank you so very much. Edwin is here. Edwin, great to see you. Thanks for being here, Edwin. Colton is saying agreed. Thank you so very much, Colton. Appreciate that. Tommy Brown is writing, California is red. Truly, it is a red state. If The election is free and fair in California. It's going to be a red wave. It's going to be MAGA. From Northern California to Southern California, it's going to be MAGA. I'm telling you. Rachel is writing MAGA. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so very much. So many people writing agreed. AC Cruz is writing voter ID. Exactly, AC. We want voter ID. Voter ID is common sense. Voter ID makes sense. Yeah. We need voter ID. Absolutely. But the Democrats, they don't like voter ID. They don't. What does that tell you about the Democrats? Why don't they like voter ID? Why? We need ID for so many things. You want to rent a car, you're going to need an ID. You want to open a bank account, you're going to need an ID. You want to go buy a drink, an alcoholic beverage, you're going to need an ID. You need ID to operate a vehicle. You need ID for so many things. Why not to vote? Here in Wisconsin, we have voter ID. We believe in voter ID. But you know what? The Democrats complain. They complain about voter ID. Ridiculous. I don't understand why. Do you understand why? I support voter ID. AC Cruz, great point. Everyone, my friends, let me ask you this. Do you support voter ID? If you do, right? I support voter ID. Let's see how many people here support voter ID. I support voter ID. I support voter ID. I'm going to write that actually, okay? Let me write that. And I want to see how many others write the same. Voter ID, absolutely. I'm going to write that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to write that. I support voter ID. There you go. I wrote it. Joseph is saying 100% voter ID must be required. Denzel's apologizing. Denzel, you're apologizing to me? Okay. Explain why you're apologizing. All right. Gemini is saying, I support voter ID. Walter is saying voter ID 100. Okay. Autogal supports voter ID. Thank you so much. Edwin is saying it's really common sense to get voter ID. Absolutely. Tommy Brown is saying no corruption with voter ID. Oh, even Aaron is saying he supports voter ID. Aaron usually doesn't agree with me on things, but Aaron is saying Aaron supports voter ID. All right, that's great. Pindrop is saying yes, voter ID. Wonderful. Jesse is saying yes. People support voter ID. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, my friends. Lee is a Republican. Lee, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Oh, Denzel, you're from Lake Geneva? How awesome. You are in an unincorporated community. Which one? Which one? You're in Walworth County. That's awesome. Lake Geneva, it's beautiful. I love Lake Geneva. So, Denzel, tell me, which unincorporated community you're from around Lake Geneva? Let me know. I'm going to wait for your answer. By the way, I'm going to be wrapping up my live stream here very soon, not because I want to end this, but because the battery on my smartphone is going to be approaching 0% very soon. So I have to, even if I don't want to, I have to wrap up this live stream. But we still have a few minutes. Um, so Denzel, let me know where in Lake Geneva you are. Okay, I love Lake Geneva. By the way, for those who don't know, if you visit Wisconsin, you got to visit Lake Geneva in Walworth County. It's an awesome place. The lake is beautiful. Okay, the communities around the lake beautiful. Lake Geneva, Williams Bay, Fontana. There are some great hotels, great resorts. I mean, it's awesome. You gotta visit Wisconsin and visit Lake Geneva. It's wonderful. Um, Terry is leaving. Terry says, "Night, folks." Terry, thank you so much for being here. Terry has been supporting this channel since day one. So, Terry, thank you. Have a wonderful night. Um, all right. Let's see. All right. Okay, my friends, I'm going to wrap this up. Not yet. I'll tell you when. I still have maybe a couple of minutes here. Okay. So, in conclusion, I'm just going to say I'm eagerly waiting to see the reopening of Alcatraz. I think it's going to be great for our country. And yes, I support ensuring that the worst of the worst criminals are shipped to Alcatraz and detained there and kept in prison there. All right. And once again, we're not talking about just any criminal. All right. There are lots of different kinds of crimes. There are crimes that are financial in nature, there are crimes that are violent in nature, non-violent. So when we talk about Alcatraz, it's really the worst of the worst. Okay. So yeah. Don is writing, toss it for governor of California 2026. Don, I love your comment, Don. But I don't live in California. I don't I don't live in California, Don. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Um Thanks for the vote of confidence. Don is writing, toss it for the governor of California. I don't live in California. I'm not a California resident, but I appreciate the fact that you have used such kind words for me. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that very, very much. All right, my friends, I'm going to wrap up this live stream, but before that, I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share with you the results of the poll. Let's see what the results are. The question is, would you like to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison as soon as possible? And 202 people responded. 202. 202 people responded. 54% said yes. So 54% said yes, they would like to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison as soon as possible. And 45% said no. Okay, so 45% of the people said no, but 54% said yes. Yes. And my answer also is yes. I would love to see the Trump administration reopen the Alcatraz prison as soon as possible. So thank you so very much, my friends. I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I hope you all have a good night. May God bless you all. May God bless President Trump and his administration. May God bless the Republicans in Washington, in the House and the Senate. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies, and may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. Thank you so very much, my friends. I'm going to be back again very soon with more videos and more live stream. See you soon. Thank you.